How's it going, everybody? Ragroth here. So I know this is probably maybe a little too late to do this, but I figured just for the future's sake, I wanted to talk about some Sonic characters I'd like to see added in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Now, I personally think we probably have a good idea of what the base roster is, so this is more so the DLC, or maybe if there's just some extra surprises. So I figured just do a top 10 list of characters I'd like to see. Now, of course, my three goats are already in Shadow, Silver, and it seems like Blaze might be in as well, judging from some, I guess, displays on the one stage. And I really hope Blaze is in. Talk about some other characters I'd like to see in place. Now, since this is just a racing game, it's not like a fighting game or something like that, where there's these huge move lists for characters and all that. Can't really talk about too much with each entry. I'm gonna just kind of talk about hey, yeah, I like this character. I'd like to see them. Maybe a little brief idea of what their car would look like, and also maybe what weight class their car would be. So that being said, let's get this started. And of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already.
Number 10.
So number 10 is Fang the Weasel, or Knack the... No, wait, is it Fang the Sniper or Knack the Weasel? Whatever. Fang. Fang is kind of an obscure, kind of classic Sonic character that got a little bit of a resurgence lately in Sonic Superstars. And Fang is always cool. He's one of those characters I do kind of forget about, but I would like to kind of actually see him playable a bit. And I could totally see there being kind of like a classic, maybe Sonic DLC pack or something like that I can probably talk about some other entries. Now, for what Fang could drive, he actually already drives some vehicles in Sonic Superstars. I don't know if any of them would work as a car, but maybe it could work something like that, or maybe something like his kind of a car version of his big mech he has. That would actually be really cool as well. Maybe some kind of fusion of his vehicles and kind of the mech. I think he should drive something more purple than yellow, in my opinion. And for his weight class, I guess he could be, I don't know, maybe acceleration. I think acceleration or power works for him. And in terms of his chances, I think if they do a classic Sonic pack, I think he is very likely. If they don't, then he's probably not very likely.
Number 9.
So that's right, I'm going to be repping some of the IDW comic in this. So we're going to talk about Serge the Tenric. I believe she's a Tenric? Tennic? Yeah, Serge is just a pretty cool character. She's kind of like a new rival for Sonic in the comics. I think it's kind of about time he got a new rival. Not that, Shadow's always going to be his best rival, in my opinion, but still nice to have a new one. Now, it would be sick to have kind of Serge have this sort of really electric sort of green car. I think that'd be really sick. And in terms of what her class would be, I think she would definitely be speed, especially since she was kind of supposed to be she was supposed to be kind of like another version of Sonic made by Dr. Starline. So she's really fast, of course, just like Sonic. So yeah, she should have a speed car as well. In terms of her chances, if they do decide to represent IDW in any way, I think her chances are very high. But if they don't, then her chances are basically zero. Kind of just like Fang. I would say probably Classic Sonic is probably a little bit easier to get in the game compared to IDW, but that's just what I'm guessing.
Number 8.
So Neo Metal Sonic is probably the coolest version of Metal Sonic, I would say. And it would be cool because we could actually have a version that sort of talks again. Now, in terms of what his car could be, I think it could... I would actually really like if maybe he got just sort of Metal Sonic's car from Sonic All-Star Racing and All-Star Racing Transformed. I personally like that sort of hover vehicle more than his more recent vehicles. I think that was more unique and cooler. Or maybe it could be a car that kind of looks like the head of Metal Madness or Metal Overlord. I don't know what his chances are because it's we kind of already have Metal Sonic in the game. I don't know if they ever do alternate skins, maybe he could be an alternate skin for Metal Sonic, but I don't know how that would work because he's kind of, very different size and all that. I think his weight class, I feel like, I'm assuming Metal Sonic's is speed, so I would kind of like Neo Metal Sonic's to be power. Because we don't really know how fast he is. He was more of a stationary threat that turns into a big monster, so I'm just going to say, I don't know, power for him. Assuming that regular Metal Sonic is speed. Yeah, and I feel like his chances could be good if maybe they do sort of like a villains-centric like DLC pack or something like that.
Number 7.
So I think it'd be pretty cool to see Gammer in this game. Emerald will be okay as well. I just think Gammer is cooler, and I guess following the canon, Gammer is currently alive and well. He lives with like Cream and Vanilla, while regular Emerald is still kind of dead. Gammer, I think, was kind of taking on his personality, his sort of role. And I guess he would be like a handling. I guess like in terms of what his vehicle could look like, I guess maybe it could look like, I guess something that just sort of represents, sort of just looks like him. Yeah, I honestly kind of don't really know with him. Because we have so many robots in the game that kind of, you know, that sort of just take over their own kind of pattern and all that. Probably something like that, or maybe it could be a mix, because I know Emerald and Gammer's thing was sort of copying data and all that. I really don't think his chances are that great. I guess technically he could be an IDW rep, and he could actually also be a villain rep too. So I guess, I don't know, maybe his chances are okay.
Number 6.
So kind of another new era classic character that I would like to see is Trips. Trips the Sun Gazer from Sonic Superstars. I actually really like Trips. She was pretty cool, and I really hope Sonic Superstars is not her last game. That would really be a bummer. Now, I feel like her car could maybe look like her helmet a little bit, or maybe kind of just sort of like this kind of brown, sort of spiked kind of car, kind of like her. Or maybe it could look like her super form, since her super form is a little bigger than most characters, something like that. Now, what her class could be, I put her down for handling, but I think her class could really be any of them, honestly. And in terms of her chances, I think if they do a classic Sonic pack, which I think is possible, I think her chances are amazing. Otherwise, they're probably pretty low.
Number 5.
Now, another classic era character that I would love to see is Mighty. It's really cool to see Mighty make a comeback. He's been a character that's been dormant for a very long time, and I was kind of hoping we'd see him a little bit more after him and Ray appeared in Sonic Mania Encore. Haven't been too great with that, though, so far, but maybe this game could change that. Now, I think for his class, I really think he could be speed or power, because with his name, and I guess sort of just his shell and all that, he could be power, but keep in mind, he was initially one of Sonic's first designs, and Sonic was even sort of I think he was put in place of Sonic in Knuckles Chaotix, so he is definitely a fast guy. So I think either one works, though, for speed or power. Then again, just like Trips and Fang, if there's a classic Sonic pack, his chances are amazing. I would love a pack with him, Trips, Fang, and maybe like Ray. Of course, they'd probably be lame, put in classic Sonic as one of them, but I would like to say Mighty would have a good shot for that, though. And I feel like his car could probably look like a very kind of shell looking car, something like that, kind of like a red and black and brown kind of car. I sort of imagine it being kind of like the Pokemon Kabuto, if it was a car. Carbuto? Did I just make up an alternate evolution for him?
Number 4.
So one character I've wanted for a while is Chaos. Probably one of my favorite Sonic antagonists that kind of has been mostly brushed to the side for a while now, which is unfortunate. In terms of what he could drive, I feel like he could just drive something that either looks like the Master Emerald or maybe one of his forms, like Chaos 6 or Chaos 7. I always kind of wondered, would his car just be made out of water? Or it'd be kind of that sort of solidified, more water look, kind of how like Perfect Chaos kind of looks in the opening to Sonic Adventure, or how he looks in Sonic Generations, something like that. I think that'd be very cool. Yeah, Chaos I think is another character where it's like, you know, maybe if they do like a villains pack or something like that, he might have a shot. Otherwise, I mean, it's just a shame. He really should be playable more. And in terms of what his class would be, I'm gonna say his would be Power, mainly because when he was playable in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, he was kind of the strongest but like slowest character of the treasure hunting characters.
Number 3.
Alright, now we're in the top 3. I'd really love to see Mecha Sonic be in this game. Look, I love Metal Sonic with all his and that, but honestly, at the end of the day, my favorite mechanical evil Sonic is always going to be Mecha Sonic. Maybe this is partially just due to Super Mario Bros. Z, and maybe his appearance in the IDW comics that kind of maybe put it overboard for me, but I think I've always kind of liked his design a little bit more too. So I'd love to see him in this game. Again, I feel like his car could be some kind of like maybe variation of Metal Sonic's car, maybe a car he had in the past, probably a little darker blue, because he's probably, you know, just because he's a darker shade of blue than Metal Sonic is usually, more of like kind of more of an indigo color, I guess. Maybe something even with kind of his sort of Cyclops kind of eye visor thing on the front of the car. I think that'd be super sick. And I feel like his class would have to be speed. It could be acceleration just to make him a little bit more different from like Sonic and Metal Sonic or something, but I'm just putting him down as speed for now. And it would be super cool. I know it would definitely never happen if they got Andy Chandler or Andrew Chandler, who voiced Cooler from Dragon Ball Z, who they kind of used as sort of the voice clips in Super Mario Bros. Z, and they even made a reference to it in the IDW comic as well. I think that'd be so cool if that did become his special voice. It probably wouldn't happen though, and I'm not really sure what his chances are. Probably pretty low, unfortunately. He could be in a villains one, but I feel like I feel like the villains one would be more of like a 3D era Sonic game kind of thing, and less of a 2D era thing. I guess he could technically be in a classic pack. He just hasn't really been in any recent classic games.
Number 2.
Now this one is definitely a bit influenced by Sonic X Shadow Generations. I think this game has kind of breathed new life into Mephiles. Granted, I've always liked Mephilis, even growing up. Thought he was a pretty cool villain, and I'd love to see him playable in something. Now what his car could be, probably really like Dark Crystal-ish looking car, kind of like how he looks usually. Maybe look like, you know, one of those like kind of monsters he summons in his fight in Shadow Generations as well, something like that. Now in terms of his chances, it's really hard to say there. Again, he could be in a villains pack or something like that. I know they are kind of, I think, maybe getting strict about like, you know, what characters are dead and alive and all that stuff, like, you know, that it all has to be tied into the canon and stupid crap like that. I don't know why I can't just say like, hey, he got released from the that seal that he got released from in Shadow Generations, again, just a race or something like that, just for fun. Like, it just, we shouldn't take this that seriously. It's just a car racing game. Now, what I think his weight could be, I'm gonna say power, because he didn't really show much like speed feats as much. He's more of like kind of powerful. Could maybe be like handling as well.
Number 1.
The little blue savior. But what's that I smell?
I don't know anything about you, not even your name.
You may call me Infinite, in the brief moments that remain to you.
Infinite needs to be in this game. I know Forces isn't the best game. I know people don't really like Infinite's sort of character motivations, but man, he has a sick design and a sick voice. And I really wanted him to be kind of the third member of Robotnik's team and Team Sonic Racing. And it was very disappointing to see that they picked Zavok. I would have really liked to see, you know, Infinite or Chaos in place of Zavok. So hopefully this game will be the justice for him. And I know that game was like kind of right after Forces, so maybe it was a little too recent. But now that some time has passed, the dust has settled, I think it's time definitely if Infinite be in this game. Now with his car could be maybe something that looks like his mask, maybe like the Phantom Ruby, or maybe like kind of like those cubes he summons, something like that. I think a car that looks like his mask would probably be the coolest, I would say. And I think his class, I just had him down as acceleration, just because I don't think I picked. Yeah, literally, I think the only other person I had on this list as acceleration was Fang. Otherwise, I don't really know what Infinites could be. I don't know. I guess because acceleration can give the illusion of speed or some crap like that. I don't know. And then here's just some honorable mentions I'm throwing in there. Whisper, Takal, Tangle, and Ray the Flying Squirrel. But yeah, that's really it for my list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with it, you agree with it, what characters you would like to see. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts. And as always, like the video if you like it. Dislike if you dislike it. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Would really help the channel a lot. And of course, check out my socials and Discord in the description below as well. But with that being said, thank you so much for checking out this video. And as I always say, another time, another place. Keep being awesome.